Simon and the Collective. Once upon a time, I was working in Russia. There was a beautiful Russian princess, and by some miracle, I persuaded her to accompany me on a trip from Moscow to St. Petersburg. It was a business trip, but I decided to make a long weekend of it, as I'd always wanted to explore the city. We decided to travel by overnight train, and had secured a cabin for the two of us. We boarded around 8 o'clock in the evening, and the train was due to arrive the following morning. When we got on board, the kind lady showed us to the cabin, provided us with the obligatory tea from the samovar, checked the tickets, and then explained that she would leave us in peace until the morning. The trip was stunning. It was the middle of winter, so there was snow and moonlight, and what with the scenery and the enticing rhythmic nature of the train journey, plus discussing the state of Russian politics,
yes,
maybe we didn't get as much sleep as we should have done.
Okay.
That would be distracting, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
So much to discuss, but look at that snowy scenery.
Rhythmic nature of the train, yeah.
More tea.
we spent the day trundling around St. Petersburg doing the usual touristy things, and then in the evening we decided to go to the Kirov to watch a ballet. Now, being from Yorkshire, going to the ballet when I was growing up was probably not on the list of usual Friday night activities, but I'd recently started going to the Bolshevik in Moscow, and I really, really enjoyed it. However, this particular ballet, Raymonda I think it was called, was dreadful, and I found about 10 minutes in I wasn't enjoying it at all. I managed to make it through to the interval. Here was where I made my first mistake. I decided to indulge in the traditional caviar on stale bread and a couple of glasses of the rather splendid champagne, and I may even possibly have sneaked a couple of extra glasses to fortify myself for the forthcoming dreariness of the second half.
Okay.
I'm not sure there's first and second half. I'm not sure that's how they...
Yes, it is. It's exactly how they call it, yeah.
Unfortunately, the auditorium was hot, and it was at this stage that the alcohol, the overnight lack of sleep due to cultural conversations, and the heat got to me, and I drifted off. I was enjoying a particularly pleasant dream involving a snow princess and cultural exchanges when it suddenly turned into a rugby line-out, and I was being tackled illegally by a spear tackle from an All Black. I woke with a start to realise it wasn't a rugby player injuring me, but my Russian princess slamming her elbow into my ribs to wake me up. Oi! That's how she talks.
Okay.
She then... It's a common Russian princess.
Yes, it is, yeah.
She then proceeded to explain loudly that I was an uncultured British peasant whose snoring had brought eternal shame on her and spoilt her evening at the ballet.
Yeah.
She also added some other words which brought applause from the surrounding crowd, who were enjoying this rather welcome addition to their evening's entertainment. We eventually made up and my ribs recovered within a few weeks. Then eventually we moved to the UK together. Now, I'm frequently reminded of by my Russian princess of my previous shame. In fact, for the past 15 years or so, she has repeated this story with great enjoyment to all our friends, all our acquaintances, and even passing traffic wardens. However, what she doesn't know is that on one occasion, when I think she had consumed a little too much tonic water, I overheard her telling a friend that the real reason she was upset at the incident was that my snoring had actually woken her up. And to cover her embarrassment at falling asleep, she had decided to deflect attention by blaming me. Well, do I seek absolution from the masters and mistresses of mercy? Yes, but not for my snoring, although I fully accept that the frequency and volume was offensive, and not for disturbing the audience, for they enjoyed the way I had inadvertently livened up a fairly dull evening. In fact, I don't seek forgiveness at all for anything I have done, but I am seeking forgiveness for something I am about to do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
How about this?
Okay.
A little bit of Philip K. Dick. This is what this is.
Yeah.
You see, I have devised a cunning plan to avenge 15 years of humiliation from my Russian princess, but obviously I'm not going to say exactly what I've got in store. This means that she'll not be able to pass through a doorway without checking for a bucket of ice-cold water overhead, and she will suspect the provenance of every meal I make for her. Alternatively, I may never do anything, but she will live in fear forever, and this confession itself may in fact be my revenge. She's a keen listener to this particular part of your show, so her knowing that you have pardoned me in advance, hopefully, for whatever heinous revenge I have planned, will add to the anticipation. Alternatively, she may just wake me up in the middle of the night with another rib buster
Yeah.
and explain that if I ever wish to continue our cultural conversations in this life or the next, I should cease and desist from any talk of vengeance. Toe rag.
Another Russian phrase.
That's a St. Petersburg expression.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so I quite like... So this is very good. So Ian wants forgiveness because clearly he fell asleep at the ballet. Understandable, I suppose, under the circumstances. He'd had a cultural exchange and he'd had a glass of champagne. However, he wants forgiveness, Bobby, for something he's about to do, which is the kind of thinly veiled threat for his Russian princess. What do you say?
Well, before we get to that bit, first of all, Ian, I thought you were James Bond. I thought, wow,
He might
man
be.
from Yorkshire, James. Yeah, but then he wasn't, was he? Because he stuffed it all up by falling asleep in the ballet. James Bond doesn't fall asleep in
No.
the ballet. He might, do other things, but he wouldn't fall asleep. He'd be,
probably right.
he might be busy with work or something. But I'm really impressed, Ian, that you managed to get a Russian princess.
He's always busy with work.
Yeah.
With
You're
work.
busy again, James.
Well, but you managed to get one of this amazing women to come back with you to the UK and still be with you for 15 years. But I'm not going to forgive you for something that you might do to her. Don't think you can threaten this lovely woman, for eternity.
My guess is when he says this confession itself might be, in fact, my act of revenge, I suspect that that's what he means. And he wouldn't commit any of these terrible things in the future. But who knows? Brother Matthew.
Well, snoring in the ballet, we've all done that, or at least wish we could have done. Is it not really my thing? Everyone else loves it. But by the way, isn't it? It's the Bolshoi ballet, isn't it? It's not the Bolshevik ballet.
just
It's a
saying-
whole different thing, I think that is.
He said he was going to the Bolshevik
The Bolshevik ballet?
in Moscow.
I'm going to say no. So I think here he's wanting forgiveness for being a prankster in advance, and I've made my feelings very clear on pranksters, frankly. So
the Bolshevik might be a pub.
The Bolshevik pub ballet.
Yeah, I'll just
What?
go down.
Going down the Bolshevik.
See you down the Bolshevik, mate.
See, oh, you're doing the ballet again? Lovely. And they're all sounding like that again. So I am not going to forgive because of the whole prankster thing. Not up for that at all.
Get us a couple of pints of
Yeah.
green Trotsky ale, will you, while you're there?
Green Trotsky.
No?
No.
No.
All right.
Bolshevik ballet.
What did you say?
Bolshevik.
Forgiveness or not?
I said for